What is up, bros and broettes? I'm Inkslasher, and today we're going to be doing something pretty cool. What we're going to be doing is taking all of the different maps that were taken from various multiplayer games in Blackout and comparing them to the original maps. So this includes Nuketown, Firing Range, Estate, which is a mix between Stronghold from Black Ops 3 and Raid from Black Ops 2, and we're going to be comparing the two different maps. So in this video, there is a total of 10 different multiplayer maps we're going to be comparing, but in this video, we are not going to be doing any zombies maps, just the multiplayer maps. However, if you would like to see a comparison between the different zombies areas in Blackout, all you have to do to show me is simply hit that like button, and the more likes this video gets, the more likely I am to make that video. But I do think it's going to take quite a while to compare all of these maps, so what we're going to do here is get right into it, starting off with the one that most of you probably want to see, and that would be Nuketown. So to start things out, we are going to be comparing Nuketown Island, which is the Nuketown in Blackout, to the original Nuketown from Call of Duty Black Ops 1. The reason for that is it's very clear that Nuketown Island is modeled after the very first Nuketown from Black Ops 1. How do I know this? Well, once you see the comparison of the two maps, I think will completely agree with me. Also, another really big giveaway is if you compare the two Nuketown signs, they are exactly the same in Black Ops 1 and Blackout, whereas all of the other Nuketown signs are different. So the real big difference between Nuketown Island and the original Nuketown is that in Nuketown Island, the bomb or nuke has already gone off. All you can see is in the entire town of Nuketown, there is disheveled buildings, cars, everywhere. Even the mannequins in the various houses and fridges have been burnt to smithereens because of the nuke going off. Now, the other massive difference, of course, is first of all, in Nuketown Island, it's an entire town of Nuketown houses. But what you may not realize is if you check out the first ever Nuketown map and look into the background of the map, there is more houses than just the two you can explore on the map. So it does make sense to have this entire town on Nuketown Island. The other thing is, in Nuketown Island, there is an under area. And what I mean by this is basically throughout Nuketown Island, there are several different entrances, the main one being on the beach, which leads you into a fallout shelter. Now, this is equipped with various different areas, including the mannequins that you see throughout Nuketown. Now, the question is, was this always under Nuketown, or is this something that is only in Nuketown Island? The reason why I bring this up is because if we go to the original Nuketown map, in the back of one of the houses, there is an entrance to what appears to be a fallout shelter. This entrance is open in Nuketown Island, but not, of course, in the original map. But those are the similarities and differences between Nuketown Island and the OG Nuketown from Black Ops 1. This is definitely a map out of the ones we're going to look at where you can absolutely see the similarities between the two. Now, the next one is a little bit more difficult. The next one we're going to look at here is Firing Range. So the first building we have here that is the same between both maps is the long building that we're traveling through here. The next one that we are going to is going to be the main middle building, the one that has the car raised in the original Firing Range, and then the upstairs has two windows on either side. Where the main difference is in Blackout, there is no vehicles on the bottom floor, it is wide open, but the top floor looks exactly the same looking over both sides of the Firing Range map. After this, we have the building behind the center building in regular Black Ops. This was actually the building where the C flag in Domination actually was. This building is one of the only buildings out of everything we're going to look at that actually I think feels smaller in Blackout than it does in the original Black Ops map. And the final building is probably the most important one on Firing Range, and that is the wood building. This building is identical in both the original Firing Range maps and the Blackout version of the map. They play exactly the same. They're almost the exact same size. Now, the one big difference between Firing Range and Blackout and Firing Range originally is in Blackout, they built up a lot of buildings around the central map. So the central map, the original map, is there right in the middle, but built around it, there are many more houses, wood paneling, tires, surrounding the entire map of what Nuketown used to be. So all of the OG buildings are there, surrounded by a bunch of new areas. It's basically a bigger version of Firing Range from the original Black Ops. Now, the next map that is very different from the original is Array. So Array in Black Ops 1 was a snowy map that had one central building surrounded by a couple of medium-sized buildings. Now, in Blackout, the middle building is there, but the outside of the building is way more wide open. There's less medium-sized buildings, and really the only buildings other than the middle building that remain the same is these little red huts off to the side. But really the only thing that is identical between the two maps is the middle building. Once again, I find it may be a little bit larger in Blackout, but all in all, this building is nearly identical. The spiral staircase up the center of it is, like I said, identical, and then the windows that overlook the rest of the entire area. This is, of course, probably the most important area on the entire map in the multiplayer map, and if you land here in Blackout, if you're able to take control of this building, you're pretty much able to control the entire area of Blackout in Black Ops 4. Now, the one other thing that remains the same between the two is the little secret tunnel off to the side in both maps. This leads from one area of the middle building to the opposite. So that is actually the last of the original Black Ops maps. Now we're going to move on to Black Ops 2. And the next one we're looking at here is, in my opinion, the most similar to the original map out of any of the areas in Blackout, and that would be Raid. So, on Blackout, this is called Estate. It's a makeup of two individual areas, the first of which is Raid from Black Ops 2. And as I mentioned, these areas in both games are incredibly similar. Now, the interesting thing about this comparison of these two maps is that they are almost identical all the way down to the individual cars laid out through the map. They look very similar. The only difference is in the old Raid in Black Ops 2, some of the cars simply look a little bit older than the cars in the Blackout version of it. But all in all, these two maps pretty much compare to a 1-to-1 ratio. The size is exactly the same, and the look is even exactly the same. Even down to the small details of in the basketball court in Black Ops 2, you couldn't pick up the basketball, but if you knifed them, they would go towards the hoop. Whereas in Blackout, you can literally pick up the basketballs and throw them towards the hoop. So really the attention to detail between these two maps is almost identical, which is really impressive because as soon as I landed here in Blackout, I really felt at home between the two games. I knew exactly the map I was playing, the exact lines of sight that I could shoot through, and really, as I mentioned, it really did feel like I never left Black Ops 2. Just maybe a little minor graphical update, which is really all you can ask for. Now, the next map from Black Ops 2 is a little bit different. So the way they designed this one is there is one area of cargo that is similar between Blackout and Black Ops 2. The rest is very different. So the area that's the same is the main building and center of the area. So the main building, like I said, with Raid is pretty much a 1-to-1 ratio. The buildings look almost identical. And even when you hop out the top window and go into the middle and you go to that circular area in the middle of the map, this is all very similar. The rest of the map, however, is very different. The main differences between the two is in cargo in Black Ops 2, everything is pushed very close together, so the map plays more close quarters. Whereas in Blackout, all of the shipping containers are spread further apart, so there's longer lines of sight and bigger gaps between the containers. On top of that, in cargo in Blackout, there is also a massive shift off the shore of the cargo dock. So just another difference on top of the already different two areas. So the final Blackout map that was in Black Ops 2 was Turbine, and this, out of any of the maps we discussed today, is the less true to life map out of any of them. And what I mean by that is it is not similar at all to the Black Ops 2 map. Now, the two things that are similar is, first of all, the airplane that is crashed in the middle of the map in Black Ops 2 is once again back in Blackout. And the other thing is the bridge. The bridge that spans over top of the airplane is also there in both maps. The rest is not similar whatsoever. All of the buildings in Turbine in Blackout are much bigger and not even in Black Ops 2. Whereas in Black Ops 2, the buildings that are there are much smaller. The only other thing that's similar between the two maps is the wind turbines, hence the name Turbine, both of which are surrounded by many wind turbines, and even in Blackout, the entire desert area is covered in turbines. So that's one other similarity between the two. But all in all, out of any of the maps we look at today, these are the maps that are the most different compared between the two games. So moving on, we are looking at the Black Ops 3 maps. Now, there's only, as of right now, 2 Black Ops 3 maps hidden throughout Blackout, the first of which is Stronghold. Now, Stronghold is the second part of Estate that we talked about earlier. The other building on Estates in Blackout is Stronghold, and the similarities between this one are extremely extremely similar. The main floor and basement of the house are exactly the same, and the front yard and backyard definitely have some resemblances to Stronghold in Black Ops 3. The main difference in Blackout is that they made it bigger. There's a helicopter landing pad, and you can even get on top of the roof of Stronghold, where often some pretty good loot is found. But all in all, I was pretty impressed with the new rendition of Stronghold. It definitely looks like a new building, but once you're inside and see some of the decorations, there's definitely a ridiculously good resemblance of the map from Black Ops 3. And then the final map and final Black Ops 3 map is actually Fringe from Black Ops 3. Now, this one you may not have realized was on the map because it's not a named location, but this one actually takes place in Rivertown. And what they did is take 3 individual buildings from Fringe in Black Ops 3 and put them in various locations throughout Rivertown. Now, the first building we are looking at here is the middle building on the map. This building was actually made larger in Blackout. They added an extra room to it, and of course added a front door. Normally, in Black Ops 3, you're only able to enter through the side doors, but in Blackout, they added a front door that you were able to go into. The next part of Fringe that was brought into Rivertown is actually the barn from Fringe. So this one looks incredibly similar. Even at the back of the barn, there's that little raised platform to get in the back window. On top of that, the only real difference inside the barn is in the upper area. In Blackout, there is 3 windows. In Black Ops 3, there is only 2 windows. Also, in the new building in Blackout, they added an extra room where they put some loot. And then the final building from Fringe that they brought in is what I call Grandma's house, but it's actually the White House at the other end of Fringe. Now, these ones look a little bit different simply because they added in a bunch of extra rooms in Blackout. So the house looks a little bit different, but from the outside looks incredibly, incredibly similar. It's got the same roof that you can get on at the front side of the building. On top of that, the same doors on the back side. There's windows in the exact same areas. It is the same building, but like I said, the interior just looks a little bit different in Blackout because of those extra rooms. So guys, that is every original map compared to its Blackout counterpart. I thought it was pretty interesting to see how similar certain maps were like Raid compared to how different certain maps were like Turbine. I thought that was pretty interesting, and if you'd like to see me do this with the zombies maps that are in Blackout, all you have to do to let me know is simply hit that like button. Also, I'm sorry that there was no like theater mode or private matches where I could get some better shots where I was trying to just avoid people in these current videos, but maybe once the game is finally released, I can get some better videos of these if that's something you're actually interested. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, it would be very greatly appreciated if you could hit that like button. This video took forever to put together, capture all the footage, edit it all together, so if you could hit that like button, I would very greatly appreciate it. And if you like what you see here and want to stay up to date on all my videos, the best way to do so is make sure you hit that subscribe button and have notifications turned on so you can be notified whenever I upload a video. Also guys, down in the comments below, let me know which maps you think they should add to the Blackout map. They said that they are going to be changing this map throughout the life cycle of Black Ops 4, so what do you think should be added? Let me know down in the comments, and guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.